والصلاة وأتم التسليم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آله إبراهيم. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آله إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد، فنحمد الله سبحانه وتعالى ونشكره سبحانه وتعالى على أنه هدانا إلى دين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. We praise Allah, the Almighty, and we show gratitude to Him because He is the one that guided us to the religion of truth. And He has promised that that way of life will be prevalent, prevailing, showing, triumphant, that which conquers all of the other ways, influences all of the other ways, shines over all of the ways, even though the disbelievers, the pagans, those who oppose Allah and His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though they hate it. This is the second day of the seminar on the subject matter of trials and tribulations, taken from the famous book of Imam Shaikh al-Islam, Amir al-Mu'mineen al-Hadith, leader and the triumphant scholar of Hadith of his time and all times, Imam Bukhari, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, wa rahimahullahu ta'ala. May Allah be pleased with him and shower His mercy upon him. Ameen. In the book Kitab al-Fitan, we said Kitabu means something compiled, and whatever comes, the second word is the subject matter in general. So Kitabu, the book that's going to be presenting issues of fitna, fitan, plural, trials, fitna, a trial. And then the Shaykh, he put Bawwaba, Bab Kada, Bab Hakada, Bab Kada, Bawwaba. Bawwaba means you put subtitles. You say, we're going to talk about this house. Let's Kitab al-Buyur, Kitab al-Astaghfirullah, Kitab al-Nam al-Buyut, Kitab Buyut, plural for houses. Bait, singular, Buyut is houses. Then you say Bab, the first thing you're going to discuss, the size of the house. So the first chapter will be Bab al-Maqas al-Bait, the size of the house. Then the second thing, Bab Ghurfat al-Bait, how many rooms in the house are like this. And so Kitab al-Fitan, everything he's going to talk about is in the category. And the first thing he brought was the Bab Lahur al-Fitan, Lahur. When something becomes not only visible to see, but also abundantly, that thing. So that was the chapter that we started, and it has a lot of things in it. From it is the hadith we mentioned yesterday. Hadith, where the Prophet said, Taqarabu zaman, Taqarabu as-zaman. And yesterday we didn't give a lot of detail. It said Taqarabu, some scholars said times will be equal, like night and day will be equal. Others said Taqarabu zaman has to do with the seasons. Prophet also after he said, Taqarrub zaman, times will be similar, times would be the same, times would be filled with things of tribulation close to the day of judgment. He said that a person, that their actions would be short. Their actions would be short. People will have shortcomings in their actions like never before. They will have shortcomings in that which they are supposed to uphold. Yanqus, actions will also decrease. Yanqus al-amal. That's why you see the Muslims are not righteous like the Muslims of the past. The Muslim are Muslims into all kind of things these days, despite their commitment and their submitting to Allah and His Messenger as a Muslim, because the Prophet said, Yanqus al-amal. Yanqus, the decrease. This also is going to include how infrequently Muslims pray. This is Yanqus al-amal. The actions decrease. Also has to do with قِلَّةُ النَّاسِ مَسَاجِدِهِمْ, the great diminishing number of people attending the masjid. All of this is Yanqus al-amal, that the actions of the believers will decrease. SubhanAllah. Yuqal shuh, people will be self-conceited and stingy all the way around. People won't care about one another. People will be very, very possessive. People won't give that which they should give in order to make a difference. وَتَظْهَرُ مَاذَا الْفِتْنَ. وَتَظْهَرُ الْفِتْنَ from the word ظَهَرَ. Again, Shaikh Abdul Karim al-Qudair, from the major scholars of Saudi Arabia, from Riyadh, he said, Dhuhur here doesn't mean to appear. This is one of the mentions of Dhuhur, something that appears, you can see it. He said, Dhuhur al-Fitn here means kufr, and it will become a lot. So it shows you words are used in Arabic that have a underlying meaning. You're going to see it, but here it means you're going to see it in abundance. وَيَكْثَرُ الْحَرَجِ. So here, the Prophet didn't say وَيَكْثَرُ فِتْنَ. Why? Because he wanted to give both meanings, that you're going to see it and there's going to be a lot. Because kathara means abundance. He could have said yakthuru fitn, like he said yakthuru haraj, but he said yuzharu. That will appear, but it will also appear in great numbers, that which is fitn. And fitn again is general. When we talk about the meaning of fitn, it has a lot of meaning. Anything, scandals, crimes, shootings, loud music can slay, trash all over the place, children disrespecting the elders, mass shootings in schools and public places, sickness running rampant, mental illness. All this is in the area of fitn. Prostitution at young ages, sexual perversion of every type, people not having any moral compass the price of basic necessities going through, we say, the roof. SubhanAllah. People having to eat out of trash cans. Young girls giving birth at a young age. People fighting and killing locally and abroad. Someone is addicted to alcohol, another one addicted to cocaine. Home invasions. Accidental death by way of stray bullets. Somebody getting pushed onto a train track. Homeless people laying all over the place. Not being able to find adequate work. All of this underneath the meaning of fitan. It's a trap. It's a tribulation. It's a calamity. The issue of multiple storms in one season or one area that's causing not only damage to properties and destruction to communities, but causing displacement and death underneath the meaning of fitan. Earthquakes underneath the meaning of fitan. Tornadoes underneath the meaning of fitan. Tsunamis, hurricanes, floods, tumultuous snowstorms and rain underneath the meaning of fitan. Severe cold, where people die in that cold underneath the meaning of fitan. Heat alerts and people dying from heat exhaustion and strokes underneath the meaning of fitan. Raping, robbing, killing, shooting, looting underneath the meaning of fitan. Leaders being corrupt underneath the meaning of fitan. Fitan has a lot of meaning. That's why the Prophet used that term to show both the appearance of it and the abundance of it. Then he said, وَيُكْثَرُ مَاذَا haraj. And this haraj will be a lot. Will be abundant. Remember yesterday we said the ulama of the Arabic language said haraj. The Arabs understood it as al-ikhtilatu ma'a ikhtilaf. Being together, mixed in a society with one another, interactions between males, females, race, colors, tribes, different ideologies, different classes, socially and economically, while we were having problems. And then the Prophet said, qatl, qatl, killing, killing, and some scholars say because that type of issue will lead to killing. No. That hadith comes in different narrations. The main companion is narrating this, Abu Hurairah. And then you have Abu Musa. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari was from the great companions of the Prophet, who was one of the scholars of Al-Quran. One of the people that the Prophet walked upon. He didn't know the Prophet was there. He entered the masjid and Abu Musa was reading the Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ, although he had the revelation sent to him, although he had a very beautiful voice, no one had a voice as relaxing and beautiful than the Prophet with regards to recitation. When he walked in and heard Abu Musa al-Ash'ari reading, he stopped to just listen. So Abu Musa had a beautiful voice. He If you know anything about the people from Yemen, Ahl Yemen have some beautiful voices, subhanAllah. When they read that book, Allahu Akbar, subhanAllah. Abu Musa was from the people of Yemen. So the Prophet is listening, and then Abu Musa, he looks up and he knows and he stops. And he said, had I known you were here to listen to me, I would have stopped, reading a long time ago. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, radiyallahu ta'ala. Abu Musa, he mentioned that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Inna bayna yadayya as-sa'a. He said, there are hours coming. He said, the hour, I heard the Prophet say, that the hour, the time will come. Inna bayna yadayya as-sa'a. Verily, there's a time. Sa'a here has a lot of meaning. Sa'a. Sa'a. Sa'a can mean time in general. It can mean time as hour. Like you say, kam sa'a. What time is it? Person says, sa'a sabi'u. It's 7 o'clock. Also, sa'a can mean a particular time to do something. Like you said, that's not proper to do that now. Let's do that tomorrow. It's getting late. Sa'a is used like that as well. Sa'a has to also do with the time this before the day of judgment. So the Prophet Abu Musa said, the Prophet said, Inna bayna yadayya sa'a. Indeed, the hour, the time will come. Ayam is days. Yanzilu fihi al-jahl. That ignorance will descend. Ignorance will come down upon the people. Yanzilu. Yani fihi al-jahl. Ignorance will come and be something prevalent upon the people. وَيَغْفِرُ فِيهِ الْعِلْمِ. And the knowledge will be taken away. وَيَكْثَرُ فِيهِ وَيَكْثَرُ فِيهَا. And that those days, what will be abundant is haraj, this killing. The Prophet mentioned this in this narration about Musa. And he said that haraju qatl. And here haraju means qatl, killing. Imam al-Bukhari brings another chain where he mentions from the narration of Shaikh ibn Abdullah. He said, Jalasa Abdullah ibn Umar wa Abu Musa. He said, Umar and Abu Musa were sitting. This is what Shaikh ibn Abdullah is saying. So imagine you come into the masjid and me and Imam were sitting. Then you tell the story to somebody else. So Shaikh says, he came and Abdullah ibn Umar and Abu Musa are sitting together. They're two companions of the Prophet. And they're both scholars of the Muslim nation. Abdullah ibn Umar and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. He said that they were talking. The two of them were talking. Abu Musa and Abdullah ibn Umar. Abu Musa told Umar, he said, قال النبي, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, don't you know he said, Inna bayna yadayya sa'a. Definitely, there's a time, a period is about to come. أياما يرفع فيه العلم, but the knowledge will be raised. وينزل فيها الجهل, And what will be replacing the knowledge, what will descend upon the people, is ignorance. Check it. وَيَكْثُرُ فِيهَا الْحَرَجِ. And the killing will be abundant. He said, وَالْحَرَجُ قَتْلٌ. And haraj here means killing. He said, حدثنا قتيبة قال حدثنا جرير. This is the Imam Bukhari, pulling another chain to the same subject matter. And A'mash هو سليمان ibn Marwan. Sulaiman ibn Marwan. But he had the nickname A'mash. A'mash means, you know, when you go to sleep and you wake up and they said, you have sleep in your eyes. Some people call it boogers in your eyes. That in Arabic is A'mash. A'mash, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he's from the Tabi'in. Those who met the companions, studied from the companions, accepted Islam on their hands, but didn't meet the Prophet. A'mash is from those people. He was blind and a scholar from amongst the people of Quran and Hadith. A'mash. His name, Sulaiman ibn Marwan. Now, A'mash. So Jarir narrated from A'mash that Abi Wa'il said. He said, Inni yani kuntu jalisun ma Abdullah. He said, I was sitting down with Ibn Umar. He said, wa Abi Musa and Abi Musa. So why is Imam Bukhari bringing all of these chains to say the same thing, or maybe one word change and everything is the same as the other narrations? To prove to you that it's authentic. That it's authentic. Now, he says, Sami'tu Nabi. I heard the message. So if he says, Qala Nabi, the Prophet said. If he says, Sami'tu Nabi, I heard the Prophet say, then you know this is an indication that, number one, it's something that's not fabricated, because he said the Prophet said it. No companions will lie on the Prophet. That's a fitna. And people, a problem, a sickness, people lie on the Prophet. And if he says, Sami'tu Nabiyya, I heard the Prophet, then you know he heard it directly from him and not through somebody else. As you can hear something through somebody else, or you can hear it directly. He said the same thing Imam Bukhari said. He said and reported what the other people said. He said, but the Prophet also said, Haraj, Qatalu fi lugati Habashiyya. And the language of the people of Ethiopia, Haraj means killing. When you talk about this narration, this is very important that the Imam Bukhari brings these different narrations, different chains with the same wording over and over again. He could have just brought one chain and those things that's a problem, a trial, and went to the next thing, the next subject. While I'm talking to you, I'm listening to the Shaikh read the chain and the actual wording of the hadith. Right now, I'm listening. He's quoting over and over and over and over again like a song. That's how important this topic is. We take it lightly. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, also Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, another companion of the Prophet. Another from the scholars of the companions. One who said that he was with the prophet when at least 70 surah was revealed. 70 surah of the Quran was revealed. And he knows the meaning, he knows the recitation, he knows the reason each ayah in the surah came about, as the Quran is revealed based on needs and incidents. Something happens, it needs to be corrected, Allah sends a sentence, 2 sentences, 3 sentences to the prophet. Something happens, they deceive the prophet, he didn't know it, Allah reveals their deceit. That's another verse, another ayah that came down. Someone is plotting to do something evil, Allah reveals it to the prophet. The prophet asks a person of knowledge base, like a Jew, who he knows a scholar of the Jew something. That person pretends he doesn't know. He pretends it's not in their book, the Torah. Or he tells the prophet a lie. Allah reveals it to the prophet, and he goes back and he tells him what your Lord has revealed. The hypocrites, those who outwardly show their Islam, meaning they say Shahada, they pray, they fast, they're amongst you. As far as we know, he's a Muslim. But when he leaves you, he goes with those people whom he's with. They're the opposition. When he leaves you, he goes with those people who want to tarnish the Islam. And he says, I'm not really with them, I'm with you guys. He's infiltrated. This happened at the time of the prophet. Then Allah reveals to the prophet who these people are. So when we talk about those surah. Surah is the large amount of something, like you said, Surah Al-Baqarah. So everything that's in that category of that section of Quran is called surah. You have Surah Al-Ali Imran. Everything underneath that whole subject matter is called surah. We have Surah Al-Ma'da Al-Fatiha. 7. If you take 3 ayah, that's not the whole. If you take 5, you still have 2 left. If you take all 7, that's the whole surah. So they say in English surah, which I didn't like these terms, is like a chapter. And this ayah is like a verse. I don't like these. These are like terms we use with the Bible. And you can have a chapter. Quran is unique. Quran is special. Once a man came to Umar, and I'm going back to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud because he's the one, the next hadith in Kitab is Fitan, the book of trials and tribulations, Bab, who is Fitan becoming apparent and alive. But I detour in a little bit because we're talking about how he, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, was with the Prophet when 70 surah of the Quran was revealed. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's more than half the Quran. 70 surah. SubhanAllah. Abdullah Mas'ud. A young man from the scholars of the Sahaba has that kind of privilege from the Prophet. Quran is unique. I don't like to say 70 chapters, and each chapter has this many verses, because chapters is something you can use in any form. It's the Bible that's been distorted and lies on Allah, but they have chapters. The chapter of Luke, the chapter of Matthew, chapter of John, the chapter of Peter, the chapter of Paul. Allahumma salli. Verse number 3. And the Lord said, "Come unto thee." Allahumma salli. Verse can be a sheet of music. If you know, you had music class, raised in environments where you take, verse is a sheet of music. It has the notes that you sing and play it high and low. Verse. You have science fiction books, novel books. Remember we grew up reading Dr. Seuss books as little children. Stuff for the Dr. Seuss. Miskeen. Who is Dr. Seuss? Anybody know?
Dr. Seuss, who wouldn't know? Children's author. Children's book author.
Dr. Seuss. I mean, who got Dr. Seuss? Yes, Shaikh.
Yeah.
That's who?
Yeah.
That's him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy with the little hat, the Grinch,
Yeah.
and this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Almost done. Have chapters and books, you know what I'm saying? Chapters. Quran is unique. So we should learn to say surah. We understand, like, for English terms and, okay, what we can relate to understand. What's that, surah? But we should be walking around saying surah is chapter. If we can say surah, should be walking around saying ayah is verse, if we can say ayah. Just like we should be walking around saying God or G/D if we can say Allah. Why? Because this is uniqueness. Our deen is unique. Quran is unique. Once a man, he asked Umar ibn al-Khattab, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he wanted to compare the Injil. Now, mind you, Injil back then was tainted like Injil today. Muslims try to argue and say, well, the Christians today are not like those before, and the Bible today, that's some shame. They were straight then, they're straight now. Don't let interfaith fool you. They were the same. That's why when Umar was sitting, reading a copy of the Torah, because the Jews were in Al-Medina, with the Prophet, many tribes of them. The Prophet Uthman ibn Affan, radiallahu ta'ala anhuma. Uthman and Umaru. Umaru is with the Torah, and Abdullah. Umaru is reading the Torah, and Uthman, pardon me, is with the Messenger of Allah. They walk upon Umar, as Umar was one of the Arabs that can read and write. He had that skill. So the Prophet asked him, he said, what are you reading, Umaru? He said, I am reading a copy of the Torah. What do you think Uthman and the Prophet did after that? Said, no problem. Let me see it. Oh, wow. You reading that? That's good. What do you think he said? Prophet didn't say nothing in the beginning. But his face changed. Uthman said to Umaru, put that down. Can't you see the face, the displeasure on the face of the Messenger of Allah? And Umar realized, looked at the Messenger, he put it down. And then the Prophet said, yeah, Umaru, lo should, if, kana, past tense was. Lo kana Musa hayyan, if Musa was alive, laqad taba'tani, he would have to follow me. He would have to follow me. Although he's the prophet and messenger, and that's the book that was revealed to him, that the people tried to change. He was here, he wouldn't be reading that. He would be following the Quran that was revealed to me. Put that thing down. What to show you. Later on, in that same life of that person, Umar, somebody came to him with a copy of the Torah. They wanted to compare it to the Bible. Umar became upset. But he had the experience with the prophet. He got corrected in this issue. So he knew nothing could be compared to the Quran. People say, well, that's revelation, ain't it? And that's revelation, ain't it? Well, all of them from God. All of them sent from the heavens, from Allah. No. One of them changed. One of them altered. The other not. The authorization to change the prior books, although they were all sent by Allah, changed. And He allowed man to either protect it or change it. They failed. Now when He sends the Quran, by default, Allah makes sure, for our benefit, for our guidance, for us to have a pure way of life, that He made it upon himself, Allah Azza wa Jal, that he will protect the Quran. Nobody will be able to change it. And part of that is why he sent it in the Arabic language. Look at the wisdom of Allah. That's him being al-Hakim, having the deep knowledge underneath why to do something, and al-Alim, knowing all of the reasons why. Arabic is the language that's such you can alter it very easy, but very hard to maintain the authentic meaning when you change it. Therefore, Quran by default, the way Allah sent it down in the Arabic language, is protected by him. One of the ways, because of the language that he sent it in. Umar became so upset with that man, he said he took some date palm branches and started hitting the man upside his head. Because he said, you know, the similarity to this is like the Quran, like what's the difference? This is the same, right? I'm going to bust him in the head. Because that man, he knew better, but he wanted to put what? Fitna, doubt in the hearts of the people. The same thing when Imam Malik was sitting in the masjid teaching people in Al-Medina. عقيدة المسلمين في ذلك الحين كان معروف. The belief of the Muslims during that time was known, solid, thabit, marabul, tied and sold into their hearts. The man, he said in the class of Imam Malik, while people understood, he said, كيف استوى? How did Allah arise? Because Imam Malik quoted the ayah, he said, Ar-Rahman ala al-arshi istawa. Rahman rose above his throne. Meaning Allah, Ar-Rahman, the one who has all the mercy. The man, he raised his hand and said, كيف استوى? How did Allah do that? Imam Malik became upset. He said that istawa ma'loom. Allah rising above his throne is a known factor. Why? Because it's mentioned at least 1,000, without exaggeration, at least 1,000 different ways in the Quran, Allah mentions this fact that he rose above his throne. Different ayah, different surah, different expressions, different ways Allah mentions this. Unrefutable in the Quran. He said, with kayf and majhul. But how? He didn't reveal that to us. He knows how, but we don't know. When iman will be he wajib. And believing that Allah rose, that's it. We have to believe. It's compulsory. وَالسُّؤَالُ عَنْهَا بِدْعَةٌ. And asking about it is an innovation. Then he said, throw that man out of the masjid. They picked him up and threw him out of the masjid. SubhanAllah. Physically. Today somebody does Allah Mustan, kufr, shirk, lie on Allah, curse Allah, defame Allah, cause all kind of fitna, come in the masjid. The Prophet told a person, get out of the masjid, don't come near the masjid with garlic. Today they come worse. Bag of reefer smell like a darn skunk. He said, the masjid reported. Some of the masjid, brother come to Juma, big beard, he got a big bag of reefer in his pocket, smelling like the skunk that they smoke outside. Are you serious? And you can't kick him out of what? We can't kick him out of who? Are you serious? This is worse than that. Because the man is offending people with the smell. Maybe the malaika don't like it, like the Prophet said. They don't like foul smells. They don't like the smells that are foul that affect the believers. But when someone is putting doubt in your heart, doubt in your mind about something that's clear relating to your Lord, that's even worse. Tainting your religion, making you have doubt to the point you might say, you know what, I'm done with this religion. And that's kick him out, throw him out. So going back to Allah Ibn Mas'ud, 70 surahs of the Quran was with the Prophet when they were revealed. And he learned it. He knew the meaning. We knew the recitation, the different ways it is revealed to recite it, and so forth. That's Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. What time is it?
7:31.
He said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam yaqul, that the messenger, he said, min shirar nasi, from the most evil of people. Now the Prophet is giving a description because one of this is going to take place when he dies. Like they said, when the Prophet died, all hell broke loose. Yeah, all fitna happened. Min shirar nas, from the most evil of people. That means this is not the only description, but this is one of the descriptions of the most evil people. He said, and yudriku sa'atu, that they will live to see this time. They will live to see this time. That the Prophet ﷺ is referring to those different things. Whoever lives to witness those, they're going to be from the most evilest people, those people that the Prophet mentioned in the prior narrations. The one who, again, he has decrease in his actions. These are from the most evil of people. Decreasing in the act, tanqus al-amal. And we say, how could he do that? He's a Muslim. But look what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said at the end. The Prophet said, whoever lives to see these descriptions, they're going to live to see the most evil of people. SubhanAllah. May Allah protect us. Amen. Shaykh Abdul Karim said here the meaning again of dhuhur means kathratu. It means to have a lot of fitna and not necessarily it appears like it was not there before. It carries the meaning of something where you can see it and abundance, the word dhuhur. In this narration or this title, the way Imam Bukhari used it, bab dhuhur and fitna. He said because if we say that which Imam Bukhari intended, that the horror means something is abundant and not that it just appeared, we know it already appeared before, some fitna. It said, منذ أن قتل خليفة al-Rashid. He said, when they killed Khalifa al-Rashid, he's referring to Umar ibn al-Khattab. He said, Bal he said, rather, they broke the door. SubhanAllah. بِقَتْلِ Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. So not only we can't say this, fitna appeared, this is, we're in the time, now, you're seeing fitna. No, you're seeing fitna, but it didn't just appear like people say, for example, it used to be safe, now it's very bad. But some people say, well, no, it was never, safe. It's just everybody sees it now because of cameras. And that's true. But the fitna didn't just start now. This didn't happen a long time ago. It's just more public now again because people have cameras and, everybody's sending their video and you have a way to see it online. So it looks like, wow, this country became like this or that area became like that. But in reality, some of the stuff already has been here. It just became more in the eyes of the people because you can see it. That's the meaning of dhuhur. You can see it, but also abundant. Nobody can debate how many murders last year in Philadelphia, how many murders last year in Chi-Town, they call Chi-Rock, how many murders last year in Detroit, Michigan, how many murders last year in Memphis, Tennessee, how many murders last year, and the place you always like to be at the top, St. Louis. Astaghfirullah. You got to do is go and search Forbes report, FBI report, most dangerous cities, this, that, fitna. It's there. But it didn't just start. But it's more apparent because of the internet. So that's what Shaikh is saying about the statement of the whole fitna. Doesn't mean it just started. No, the fitna, and here the Shaikh is talking about fitna primarily meaning all of those things that were mentioned. Somebody's actions being short. somebody being from amongst those who are spreading ignorance. The fact that ignorance will be a lot and knowledge will lessen. The fact that somebody will be stingy and self-centered. And the fact that somebody will have a lot of calamities that they witness, and somebody also doing a lot of killing. He's primarily talking about between the Muslims. Because the Muslims are not supposed to do this at all, but moreover between one another. Our religion has a sacredness to it that should prevent that between one another. But because it's one of the signs that the prophet is mentioning, that you know the day of judgment is coming, then you're going to see this. You're going to see it in abundance. So he said when Umar was killed, this is also when this started to become known amongst the Muslims that someone killed somebody who's a Muslim purposely. And you also call the death of Umar Ukkasha al-Bab, because when Umar was alive, they called him the door, meaning like he was the one that was keeping the safety between the Muslims. Nobody would kill one another because of the respect, the piety, and how Umar would have dealt with them if they killed the Muslims. Allah gave him that ability, gave him that type of reputation, gave him that type of justice with regards to leadership. But once they removed him, once they killed him, then they started to instigate to the point the Muslims would kill one another. So they call Umar Ukkasha al-Bab. لما يعني ماذا قتل عمر قصر الباب. So when they killed Umar, then this was when they broke the door of safety between the Muslims. Shaikh. So this is again why when you understand the meaning that Imam Bukhari intends when he says the whore, which normally does mean something appears, but here it means something that already appeared that's becoming abundant. That's one of the signs of the Day of Judgment, and that's the Muslim primarily killing the other Muslims. Astaghfirullah. May Allah protect us. Ameen.
Amen.
From all types of fitna, that which is inwardly and that which is outward. Because inward fitna, and this Allah He mentioned. ما ظهر منها وما بطن, that which is inward and outward. Inward fitna, for example, having envy. You can't see that I envy you unless I tell you I do some actions and you figure it out. I say, wow, he envies me. I can sit right here and say, wow, that guy, he's built, he's handsome. I'm not built, I'm not handsome. He has all of the girls. Damn, I wish I had his looks. You will never know it. That's envy. That's the inward fitna. Somebody has a nice wife. MashaAllah, Allah gave him that. You see it, say, damn, how you get that? Hell, I look better than him. She's banging, he got that. He will never know it. You smile at him and say, how you doing, Akhi? But that's that inward fitna, what you feel of envy towards that person. Sometimes inward fitna is to be arrogant. And this is a problem because sometimes we say when a person is confident and sure about what they know and they're correct, they say he's being arrogant, he's arrogant. No. He's not backing down because he's confident. He's sure and he's right. He's not arrogant. Now if he says I'm better than you because all black people are gods and goddesses and you're white, okay, now that's pride. And that's falsehood. That's not true what he said. But if it says to you, man, you're a piece of crap, you're a bum. If you were rich like me, then you could say something. Get out of my face. So that guy's arrogant, yeah. How could he talk to somebody like that? Because of what he has and what he possessed, and he talks down to somebody else because of what he had. That's what's called arrogance. That's the inward type of trial and tribulation. Until you display it, nobody will know. So here, we ask the Lord to protect us from the inward test and fitna that's inside, that nobody knows except Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the outward. Like again, in the society, you go somewhere and you have no idea somebody's just going to start shooting. That's fitna. That's an outward fitna that you can see in the society. You're riding, you're in the car, you have a nice car, but you're a minority. You have a nice car, but you're black. You have a nice car, but you're Puerto Rican or Spanish or Mexican. Anybody that's considered minority. You're in a nice car, but you got dreads. You got a nice car, but you're leaning. You know, people like to lean. Now, I mean, that's a profile for you. And as soon as you hear, woo, 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 you look in your mirror and your heart's going to be boom, 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 boom. That's an outward fitting. Harassment from the police and transgression and all of this outward trials and tribulations. You have outer, that people see, and his actions and statements, and you have inner thoughts, feelings, grudges, envy, etc. What time is it?
7:43.
Inshallah, we'll stop here. Inshallah, we'll go back, inshallah, at 5 minutes to 8. So,